Good morning. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency. My hat is crooked, but I just fixed it. It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. I just want to say good morning to you. It is February the 23rd. It is Thursday. It is almost the end of the week. And for those who are alive and well to see it, if you can see me and I can see you, I say good morning to you, and I pray that your week has been productive. I pray that your week has been great, and if not, you still have time to adjust and to do something different in order for you to close out your week stronger than whatever it was or however it was when you opened your week. So like always, we're going to start in the spirit of gratitude and say thank you and I appreciate you, because you could be anywhere right now at 7:30 in the morning, but you're right here with Consistency is Currency. All right, so let me go ahead and put this caption up. Today's caption is not a question this time. It is more of a directive, I guess I can say. Because we're talking about the power of must. We're talking about a powerful word that can actually change the dynamics just instantly, just by just actioning this word and believing in this word, the power of must. And when you believe in the power of must, you're going to have to make it a non-negotiable. Have you ever wanted to create something and do something for yourself, or do something or take action in something, and you have to take the option off the table and you make it a non-negotiable? Peace, Grand Rising, Mr. Tony. That's what we're talking about today. Today is going to be your day, and you have to make it your day. You have to take the negotiation off the table and tell you, today's my day. I have this to do. I have that to do. I'm going to make sure this is done. Sometimes you have to make a schedule and make a calendar or whatever it is, and you have to make it your must. Somebody put must into the chat, because what we're going to do today, I want it to begin to change not just your process of thought. I want it to empower your thought just by saying the four-letter word itself, M-U-S-T. I must. Of course, I was listening to, now not this past week, but I've heard it before. Mr. Eric Thomas, he says, I can, I will, I must. I can, I will, and I must. It is not just the affirmation for those, but it is action for those who understand the power of must, who understand the capability that comes with saying and acknowledging and believing and actioning the word must. It just takes you to a whole new stratosphere. It puts you in a new space. It actually monitors and maintain your time. It allows you to know not just where you are, but it also allows you to know where you're going. Just because you understand the power of the word must. Peace. Good morning, Miss Anderson. The power of the word must is going to and it can change the rest of your day by simply saying, I must. Not making the list and saying, okay, I want to have this done by 5 o'clock, whatever it is. You're still offering it as a suggestion. All right, like always, you're going to get definition of words. You're not going to get an etymology today, but you're going to get definition of words. We're going to invert those definitions, and we're going to give it to you in a much more relevant and a much more newer timeline to where we are today, right now. And in the definitions, I'm going to say red over white, or I'm going to give you white over red. If I say red over white, pay attention to the words that are in white. If I say pay attention to the words that are in red. If I say white over red, pay attention to the words that are in white. So let's go ahead and take this step 2 feet in the deep end, because it's going to get deep today. What I want you to do before we really get started with this, what I want to learn is where you're viewing from. If you're viewing from If you're in the state of Texas, just drop the city that you're viewing from. If you're outside the state of Texas, just go ahead and put the city and state that you're viewing from, just so we can enhance this digital relationship that we're gathering and we're forming today. And once you're complete with that, go ahead and take that timeline. Go ahead and take this live and share it on your timeline or share it into a Facebook group, because we're dropping so much jewels today. We dropping it real heavy today. So let's go ahead and get into the definition of the word must. The first definition that I want you to pay attention to of must is to be obligated. Well, to obligate. To oblige or bound to by an imperative requirement. To oblige or bound to by an imperative requirement. Now, I can flip this both ways, but I'll start with white over red. An imperative requirement. An imperative requirement. That thing that you said that you wanted to do in February, it probably didn't get done because you did not make it an imperative requirement. You've made it a hoped for. Right? When you make things hoped for, you hope it happens. If it don't happen, you're going to say, oh, okay, well, I guess it just wasn't supposed to be. Or maybe, well, if it's the Lord's will, I'll have it tomorrow. Sometimes you can make it an imperative requirement. Like, have you ever said, I'm not going to sleep until this is done? That's making an imperative requirement. It's just like, I think it was, who was it? I think it was Jacob or something like that. He held on to the angel and he said, I'm not letting you go until you bless me. He made it an imperative requirement. He didn't make a suggestion. He didn't make it a hoped for. He made it imperative that I'm not going to let go until you bless me. And until you make that imperative requirement on the things that you know that need to be done, it is always going to be a suggested action, and you will not get it done, because if it doesn't get done, you will feel okay with it not being done. There has to be some sort of level of conviction that is inside of you that happens and makes you feel a certain way when you don't get it done. And when you do not get it done, the reason why it continues to stay that way, because there is no conviction inside of you. You will always feel that way until you change your level of conviction. It has to be imperative in order for it to make it happen. Now let's go ahead and flip it back just flip it to red over white real quick. To be obliged or bound to. A lot of times we're not obliged by the things that we do because we're so caught up in what everybody else has said, or we're so caught up in why it didn't happen. And it's easy for us to let go because we're not bound by it. We're not bound by the things that we said that we're going to do, so we let it go. And it's so easy to let go because we're not holding on to the original gift, or holding on to the original words, or holding on to the original focus that we had when we first set out for this thing that we're going to do. It's easy to let go because it was not an imperative requirement. You can let things go that you don't hold on to. That's just using the law of physics. Like, if I let it go, gravity is going to take place and it's going to fall. But when you make it an imperative requirement to hold on to it, you take care of it a little bit better. You probably like it a little bit more. You make it a must, not a should, not a maybe, not just a yes. It is not an option. It is a must. It is an imperative requirement to get it done. And let's go with the next definition. It says, be compelled by physical necessity to. Be compelled by physical necessity to. And the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is white over red. Be compelled by necessity to. Like compelled is forced. And to force something, it has to start as a process of thought. Because must is not a physical thing. It's not something like I'm going to go buy must at Walmart. Like, no, that's an inner conversation that you have with you. So what types of conversations are you having with you when you create these paths for yourself? Or what type of conversation are you having with you when you write down or when you wrote down the vision? I guess it wasn't plain enough for you to hold on to or to be compelled by you or the conversation that you had with you in order for you to complete it. You're not moved by completing it. You may be moved by the situations and circumstance on why it wasn't done, but you wasn't moved by the words that you had written down for yourself and set out for yourself to complete it. It's easy to let go when it is an option for you to release it. And the last definition before we get into this deep dive. It says used to show that it is necessary or important that something happen in the present or future. Used to show that it is important. Used to show that it is necessary or important that something happen in the present or future. I can flip this too. But the inversion that I want you to pay attention to is red over white. Necessary or important in the present or future. Necessary or important in the present or future. And the reason why I wanted it to be red over white at first, because it has to be necessary and important to you to understand the power of must. And the power of must can also be effective to your present you as well as the future you. The power of must can take you out from your comfort zone and put you in a position that your future you has been waiting for, just by understanding the power of must alone. So I have a question. So the things that you have set out for yourself this year, it's February. We're about to go into March. For those that creates New Year's resolutions and vision boards and all this stuff, all that stuff that you had set out for yourself that you said that you was going to have done by whatever. Like, where are you at with that? Like, honestly, like, you can put it in the chat. Like, where are you at with those action items or those goals that you had set for yourself, or the vision board that you've created? Like, where are you at with that? Is there anything that you said that you were going to do by this time in February that was not done? Look at it. Was it necessary for you to complete it? Was it important for you to write it down? If it was important for you to write it down, and because it wasn't complete, is it imperative for you to change it in order for you to make it better for the present or the future you? There's the level of inner conviction. If it wasn't done, it's your fault. I can't put it no other way. If it was not done, it's your fault. I mean, that may sound harsh, or however you take it, is your fault. I can say that. I'm not just saying it to you. I'm saying it out loud because I'm saying it to myself. Even the stuff that I know that I should have done by now, it's my fault. I didn't make it an imperative requirement. I didn't make the necessary and the important things that is going to ultimately affect my present or my future me. If it wasn't completed by now, I didn't make it a must. I allowed it to be a suggested requirement and not an imperative requirement. Because there has to be a level of accountability on why it didn't happen. A suggested requirement is an excuse. A suggested requirement is a legitimate reason that's created, but imperative requirement is looking at what should I have done and why didn't I do it? And then you can take the steps from there in completing those tasks or those goals or lining out the outline that you had set out for yourself. It allows you to do it and to go back and revisit it. Just by merely having a level of conviction and understanding the power of must. Must can take you a long way. Must can take you out of some stuff. Must can walk you through some doors that you might have felt was closed off to you for a long time, and you telling yourself, I must get through this. That's the door I want to be in right now. But in order for me to prepare myself to walk through that door, there are some things I must have done and prepared before I'm able to get through that door. So I must learn it today. Not, I hope I'm ready. I hope I have myself together. I hope I have that paperwork together. I hope that it's going to be done by 5. But I must puts a different type of cap on it. You're going to look at it a whole lot different. Because saying I must is a powerful way of expressing a commitment to yourself. Because it's an affirmed process of thought. You're capable of achieving something. And you're taking responsibility of your own success. I mean, think about it. It's a power word. You say you want to make power moves, you need to use power words. Because it's a word that reminds you that you actually made a conscious decision to take the action and be accountable for the outcome. Because if you made the conscious decision that I must have this done, that means that the actions that comes along with saying I must have this done, they have to coincide. If you ever want to have an outcome that's matching the input that you put into it. I mean, think about it. When you say the word must, you're telling yourself that I will not give up, that I am willing to put in a necessary effort, and that there is no other option to succeed. I must make it happen. I mean, think about it. Just by saying I must, as the words leave your mouth saying I must, there's power in just saying it alone. I mean, just coming out of your mouth, there's a sense of power of I must. I want you to think about it this way real quick. It has a powerful effect on your thought process because it provides you with a sense of direction and focus. Have you ever had a book and you had to study something and you're telling yourself, like, I must get this down, and you're laser focused, and now you got your sheet of paper and your pencil and you're taking notes on it because your focus is different because you told yourself that you must. Because must is telling yourself that you're aligning or realigning your purpose and that you're willing to put in the necessary effort and the dedication to make it happen. But some folks may say must and they start making up excuses on why it didn't happen. Because we got to stop using the word must as lip service and allow must to be our gift service. Allow must to be the gift to your focus. Allow must to be the gift to your process. Allow your must to be that firm, that non-negotiable expectation. Because that's what happens when you say I must. That means that is a non-negotiable. And the expectations of you getting it done is at an all-time high. Because a lot of times we negotiate with ourselves so much that we even begin to walk ourselves away from our focus, and it makes the completion of our goal simply a preference or a suggestion, and it's no longer a requirement because we suggested that we get it done by 1 o'clock. Like, no, I must have this done by 5 o'clock today, because if I'm going to have it done by 5 o'clock today, I'm going to be much more prepared for tomorrow. But how strong are your personal convictions? Because you're going to have to tell yourself that these actions are not simply desirable, but these actions that I need to take are necessary. I mean, think about it. We have to make must so important, and we have to make must that non-negotiable thing, because when it's used effectively, it can actually inspire action, encourage accountability, and drive change. And it would totally take us into a place that we can begin to not just own up to what we said that we're going to do, but we can actually own the things that we said that we want to own. You got Miss Nicole. She said must is accountability. 100%. It's accountability. It's empowering. All of that stuff. But are you willing to be accountable for the things that you didn't do? Must can take that thing that wasn't done and convert it. Why? Because it is an empowering process of thought, of being accountable for the things that you said that you were going to do that you didn't do, and take it away from the suggested pile and put it into the imperative pile and put into the requirement pile. And then you take action and wash, rinse, and repeat. Say I must today about something. It's early in the morning for you to say I must. It's early enough for you to look at something that you know that you want to have completed today and tell yourself must. I must have this done before this. That's non-negotiable. That is a non-negotiable task that you just placed on yourself. And if you feel that you probably will not complete that task, you are probably right. Because the person that says, I can't do this, and the person that says, I must do this, both of them are correct. Both of them. The person that said, I can't, and the person that said, I must, both of them are 100% correct. But which side are you going to be on? Not what side you have been on, but which side are you going to be on? Again, the person that said, I cannot, and that person that said, I must, Both of them are correct. All right, that's enough. Hey, I appreciate y'all for being here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. And if you want to go back and listen to this, you can always go and listen to it on iHeartRadio, Anchor, Podbean, where else? Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all of those various platforms. All you got to do is go into the search engine, type in Consistency is Currency, and then you're able to listen to this message again, because you may probably need a recharge sometime today, and you're able to go in there and take this and plug it in to you and recharge yourself, because you might have felt that you fell off a little bit before lunchtime. If you said you was going to go running before lunch and you didn't do it, tell yourself you must, and get yourself up and go make it happen. Non-negotiable, non-suggestive, an imperative requirement, and make it happen. All right, so man, I'll see y'all tomorrow here at 7:30 at Consistency is Currency, your more podcast of choice. And go ahead and put into the comment section your takeaways, the things that you learned, and some things that was an aha moment for you, or something that you need to get out of your own way in order for you to get in your own way. All right, y'all be blessed. Peace.